In the heart of Pinecrest Junction, a bustling city known for its innovative urban planning and vibrant community, lies a testament to human ingenuity and industrial prowess, the man-made industrial pier. This colossal structure stretching out into the azure waters is not just a marvel of engineering, but a symbol of the city's relentless drive towards progress and sustainability. Construction of the pier was no small feat. It required meticulous planning, cutting-edge technology, and the collective effort of thousands of workers. The project faced numerous challenges. However, the determination and resilience of the team prevailed. After months of hard work, the man-made industrial pier was finally completed, standing tall as a beacon of Pinecrest Junction's industrial might. Heyo, and welcome to another episode of Pine Harbor County, where we will use and abuse the new operating district mechanic that was introduced in Cities Skylines 2. In the last episode, we added services, zoning, and public transit to the city of Alders Bend by creating a unique fusion of the welfare office and urban high school assets and abusing the road tools available to us in the vanilla game to create a unique transit area. If you happen to miss the last episode, then be sure to click on the info card above, or if you are looking for a new Cities Skylines 2 series to binge watch, then check out the entire Pine Harbor County playlist in the description below. Today we are going to address our high production demands by adding a man-made industrial pier decorated with much needed electricity services. So if you're excited to watch a new pier be added to Pine Harbor County, then be sure to stick around until the end of the video to see how we add another unique feature to our map. So without further delay, let's jump right on into it. Alrighty, so straight away I want to work on the landscaping and road layout of these piers, and I'm choosing to expand upon our industrial area here in Pinecrest Junction for today. I have plans for a future industrial site, however, I need to finish balancing out our budget first, as the site I had in mind requires us to buy more map tiles, and well, map tiles are very, very expensive now. So my goals for these piers are to add optimized zoning to the land masses and as much land as we can without infringing on the ship paths. This way, we are adding a unique feature to our map that will distinguish it more as Pine Harbor County, and we can optimize more industrial sites to assist with our county's deficits. So let's start by turning on a couple of our views here. We're going to want to have our public transportation view on so that we can see the actual ship pathways, and I might make them a little bit more narrow. And I also want to make sure we have our terrain on as well. So let's jump into a bit of a time lapse and see how much land we can optimize in this area right here. All right, now that we have our piers in, I want to try and optimize the zoning a little bit here and create sort of a unique road layout that really gets as many factories and industrial sites in as possible. So let's jump on in. I think I'm going to focus on these two piers first because I might have other plans for these two right here on the left-hand side. We're going to place another gas power plant. We have about 170 megawatt deficit depending on whether it is winter or nighttime. And a lot of this is because we have a solar plant providing electricity to Pine Harbor County located in the city of Braeburn. The gas power plant produces about 250 megawatts of power and is appropriate size for what we're building today. So hopefully this will help us out a bit and cover us for our future builds. The only downside to the gas power plant is that we're not producing our own oil anymore, and our grain production can only, it is not keeping up with our current demand. So if I jump into our production tab here, when I come down to material goods, and I come into petrochemicals. If I'm reading this correctly, we can produce petrochemicals by either importing it, processing it from grain, or processing it from oil. Our grain production, it's got a surplus, but it's going towards so many things that have a deficit. So I'm kind of hoping that a lot of this deficit here is coming from just a lack of generic factories producing the petrochemical. But we're going to monitor this and see how it occurs and just keep an eye on it. In the meantime, I do want to get this gas power plant in because in the worst case scenario, if we do end up importing the petrochemical or the grain, we can at least then hopefully offset the cost of that by exporting the excess electricity that we are not using. So let's kind of jump on in there and let's get a gas power plant or maybe even two in and see what we can fit on this middle pier right here. we do start potentially exporting the excess electricity, let's get an emergency battery station in here, as I do wish to actually place one of these to offset some of our blackouts. A lot of the blackouts, like I was saying, occur at night when the solar plant in Brayburn stops working. So this should hold about 500 megawatts, I believe. Let's take a look. Yeah, so it's a huge battery bank, stores electricity that can be used to negate the problems caused by blackouts or energy consumption spikes. Can be upgraded with increased battery capacity and a diesel generator. So it's about a 25K upkeep per month. It can hold about 500 megawatts of battery, outputs about 200 megawatts, and has a decent noise pollution. I'm hoping it just offsets the blackouts a little bit and helps us through the nights, especially the winter nights when our electricity consumption is especially high because the people are trying to heat their homes as well as, you know, keep the lights on. So I think I want to put this right in here. So let's jump into a bit of a time lapse and kind of find a good spot for this battery. We'll place it right here for now. We might have to reposition it. But I think worst case scenario, we will just really kind of want to put another one in here for symmetry. If we have to connect the power lines in, I can run them underground if it's necessary, just for this area here, especially since we're a little tight for some of the power lines already. All right, now let's hook up some of those power lines. I do want to try and move the high voltage power lines throughout the region, or just spread them better throughout the region. So let's see how far we can move it and what existing transformer stations we may be able to utilize. And then we may add a couple of more, especially kind of out towards the more rural areas if necessary. impulsively toying with the idea of placing a subway station in the new pier area, and I think we're going to do it. Worst case scenario, in later episodes when we revamp the Pinecrest Junction transit system, if we have difficulties connecting the subway lines in to this new station, we can just delete the subway station itself. But I do think it might be a good idea to connect the residents of the county to the new piers. So down in the comments, let me know whether you think we should create a new branch for the Green Line, effectively creating, the Green Line A and the Green Line B branch, or if you think we should extend the Red Line down to this area instead. In the meantime, let's place in a small elevated subway station, kind of somewhere right near the pier. So for the last few episodes, I have been trying to solve our health issues in Pine Harbor County, and there was a comment a few episodes ago suggesting that it might be a part of our supply and demand chain. I figured we might as well give it a try, so let's jump into our taxes and try decreasing our pharmaceutical production, maybe down to 1, 2, maybe even 0%. Once we have a few more pharma factories, we can increase the tax again to try and help out with the deficit and see if it actually helps cure the pandemic that's going through here. So before we go into our taxation, let's just take a look real quick. Our pharmaceutical production has a deficit of about 2,000. Yeah, that definitely just changed. 2,727 tons a month. So let's come into our industrial taxation here. Let's scroll on down to the pharmaceuticals and let's just try decreasing this down to, let's just go with 0% for now and see how that does. Now that we're down to 0 here, let's come on in. I just want to see out of curiosity what produces pharmaceuticals. Chemicals, which come from minerals or oil. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's come on in here. Let's get our zoning on in and finish the road layout on our 4th pier here and kind of just see what ends up spawning in terms of companies. right, now that everything has built in a little bit, let's kind of take a look to what spawned in. And honestly, already I'm noticing so many grain warehouses. Like just so many. So I might play a little bit of a game of Whack the Growables and keep maybe the silos. But I would like to try and get some other industries in here. We have a lot of wood. Surprisingly not that many. I guess that was a pharmaceutical right here. But not as many as I was expecting. We got a second one here. So yeah, I'll play a little game of Whack the Growables off camera and see if I can't get just a few more, just some more variety on these piers. All right, let's jump into today's Beautifying the Build time lapse, and I think we're going to do something a little bit differently. Since most of this is gross, dirty industry on our piers, I don't really actually want to beautify it too much with trees and bushes. Instead, I see a great opportunity for a fifth pier right here. So that's what we're going to do in today's Beautifying the Build time lapse, is add one last big, very chunky pier and connect it into our highway. So kick back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, I think that just about wraps up today's episode. Today we added the Pinecrest Junction industrial piers alongside our harbor to assist with our industrial production and supply and demand, specifically our pharmaceutical production. And we actually ended up creating about 7,000 new jobs for the residents of Pine Harbor County. So next week we will continue our good work in Pinecrest Junction by expanding our transit system with an extended subway lines, split tram lines, and a new train station. So if you're excited for a transit-oriented episode, hit that like button and tune in next week to watch the construction unfold. And if you know a friend looking for a new Cities Skylines 2 series to binge watch, share this video or the Build and Beautify Season 1 playlist located in the description below with them. Until next time, I hope everyone has a phenomenal week.